This week's video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Enjoying the rain, Tom.
Oh, I love it. I do. It's great. It's great when you get out of your van and it's like an instant shower, and then everything in the van's wet, which means you can clean it. Maybe.
I'm not enjoying it. To hell with this vlogging malarkey. So it's been absolutely pouring with rain, and as you can probably see and hear, it's quite windy. But so we spent most of the morning just sitting in a cafe eating bacon butties and drinking tea and eating scones and cake. But there seems to be a little bit of a lull, but I don't think it's going to last very long. So we're just hiking up a little hill here to an overlook, and hopefully you can see behind me there's some blue sky. So we're really fighting the weather here, but it's a hell of a lot of fun, I tell you. There's some nice looking outcroppings up here, so hopefully by the time we get there, get a composition set up, and we'll get some light hitting that area, and with the best shot of the trip. Alright, this camera's getting really heavy, plus I don't want to spend too much time talking when I could be sitting up. You can see some sun on my face, so alright, I better hurry up. That's the thing about this type of photography, is that usually the most dramatic of light happens in the most inclement weather. I don't know how many times I've gone out and in pouring rain, and you think to yourself, oh, the light's just not going to happen, and you feel like going home or just going back to your camper van or whatever and just calling it quits for the day. And that's how it was here, just absolutely pouring rain, and you look out to the horizon and it doesn't look like the weather's going to change, and then all of a sudden we get this glorious light with these dramatic clouds, and of course because of the winds the weather is changing so quickly. One of the issues I am having though is because the wind's so strong, I'm a little bit worried about movement on my camera, even with a wide angle lens. So I've tried to get as fast a shutter speed as possible with as much depth as possible. So right now I'm shooting at ISO 400, f16, and I've got it around a 200th of a second. But the light just keeps changing and changing. I really love this scene, these two boulders here. The one thing I'm not sure about is there's kind of a rock outcrop in the background, and it's a little bit too far to the right, but I can't really go any further to my left to kind of get it in the center, balance the image out. There's some beautiful light hitting the valley, and now and then you'll get some light hitting the rocks, and just wonderful beams of light in the background. The problem is that the contrast is quite high. The sun, when the sun is out, it's really contrasty, beautiful beams, but it's really hard to get everything at the right exposure. So I'm shooting at about 2 stops under, so the foreground is going to be a little bit underexposed, just to make sure that I get the sky the right exposure. I can always bring the shadows up. So I've walked up to the next little, I was going to call it a mountain. It's not really a mountain, it's just like a little hill. There's lots of these little hills, rocky hills. And of course, earlier there were some beautiful beams of light over the lock here. But of course now I'm over here, they've disappeared. But there are blue patches. I'm hoping that the beams of light will start to come through again. And I'm just going to concentrate on those. There is a really prominent white little farmhouse on the other side of the lock there. And when I was over on the other hill there, I noticed that the beams of light were just coming through and shining on the little house there and the lock around it. It was really quite beautiful. So I'm really hopeful that that will happen again. And if it does, then I'm ready with my camera. I put on the 1 to 200 5.6 because I really want to zoom in on those beams because I think the ground landscape, it's just a little bit too contrasty, especially when it's hitting the water. There's just no way that I can control the contrast. Oh, I think it's going to happen. You see the sun right there? You just need a little hole and beams of light. It's beautiful. I think it's going to happen. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, you can see it starting to brighten up now. All right, well, false alarm. The hole was too big and it was just too bright. So I'm not sure if it's going to work like it did before anyway. That's a shame. So I think I'm going to try and move on to something else. I'm not really sure what yet. The light behind us here is moving across the landscape. It's just beautiful, but there isn't really anything to go with it. So let's see what we can do. There's some nice little ponds down here that Tom was at earlier, so maybe I'll go and look at those, see what I can do down there. All right, well, that's a bit frustrating. The weather's moving in again. The winds have picked up and the rain is starting again. So I think what I'm going to do now is just head back to the car, and who knows, it might improve again like it did before. I mean, it can change all within a matter of a few seconds. So, but right now it's just starting to pelter down, and I don't really want to get wet again. Try and dry my stuff out in the van again. It's quite difficult trying to dry your stuff out when it's pouring rain outside. All right, back to the car.
Once again, I'd like to thank Squarespace for supporting my channel and sponsoring this week's video. One of my favorite features of a Squarespace website is the ability to quickly and efficiently update a gallery or page either from a desktop computer or while on the fly using the Squarespace app from my mobile device. Loading multiple images onto a page is quick and offers the ability to change a design or page quickly and elegantly without any coding knowledge. Want to sell your products? No problem. Setting up shop is also quick and intuitive. Sound interesting? Why not head over to squarespace.com and try it for free? And if you like what you find, use the code AdamGibbs for 10% off your first purchase.
So, van life isn't always what it's cracked up to be, especially when you're sharing a van with someone else. So this is Paul's Volkswagen, and actually it's quite roomy. It's an extended version, like a T5. But I'm so used to just going away pretty much on my own in my own van. I can just kind of spread my stuff out as I please and don't have to worry too much about organizing, except for perhaps organizing so that I'm not spending all my time looking for stuff. But when you're sharing a camper, it's a little bit different. You have to be a little bit more organized, and I'm not terribly tidy, so I think
No, I've never noticed that, Adam.
I think I'm driving Paul crazy with all my bags and all my stuff all over the place. I think he'll be glad to see the back of me. But it's very comfortable. I'm comfortable. I don't know about Paul.
Yeah, fine.
But yeah, you have to be somewhat organized, and also you have to get along. It's kind of like sharing a cell with someone. Not that I would know anything about that. So this is what organised camping looks like. Tom's so organised. I'm almost embarrassed to show you the inside of his van because it's so.
Don't show it now.
Oh, really? He said, don't show it now.
It's all right.
I was telling people this morning, because it's a bit of a mess in Paul's van. I've kind of taken over with all my bags and because I'm so used to camping on my own in my own van.
I don't know how two of you survive in that van.
It's actually surviving the two of us, not bad. I actually really like Tom's awning. Eventually I'll get one when I get more organised.
You can attach like water, you can attach a full room, a floor and everything. Make it into like a nice tent.
Yeah, Tom was just saying that you can attach a wall and everything, which would be really quite nice actually. You could put a little table out there and get the heater going. We finally got out of the van. The rain has stopped, but the wind is still very strong, and the temperature has really dropped. It's quite chilly this morning. So we found this little gorge, and there's some nice little cascades and waterfalls. Of course, the waters are raging right now, but around this gorge we found some nice ancient forest. So we're just going to walk up the gorge a little bit and see what we can find up here. I've been wandering around for quite some time now in this Scots pine forest. The forest down in the canyon is quite nice, but the trees are so close together it's very hard to find a composition. And of course with the wind it makes it a bit of a problem. So I've come up the hill a little bit where the trees are somewhat spread out a bit more, and I think I found a really nice composition with these 5 trees here and the mountains in the background. Walking in these tufts of grass and heather is really difficult because there's holes. I guess the grasses and the heather form these somewhat hummocks, so you're stepping in between them and on top of them, so it makes it really difficult to get around. The light is a little frustrating. Every now and then it will come through and light certain spots in the landscape. I did see these trees lit up, but I was way back there down the hill, and that's what made me come up to this section here. So I'm really hoping that the light will strike these trees so it forms a really great contrast between the background, which is quite stormy, or it was stormy, and the foreground. There are some blue patches coming, so I'm pretty confident that at some point we're going to get some light. You can see some light in the background now. I believe, I could be wrong, but just beyond those mountains is the ocean. So this is where all this bad weather is coming in. So the way that I've set up this composition, there are 5 trees, but it looks more like 4 because 2 of them are kind of merging. But what I really like about this is we've got this tree here, which you can see the whole tree, and then we've got somewhat of a hint of one in the foreground that's looking rather dead. It's got a little bit of live stuff on it. I like the shape of that. And then we got another one on the right here, or another 2 that kind of ends that side of the frame. But what I've had to do is make sure that I get low enough so that I'm including this beautiful shape of this tree here in the background, and also the mountain tops in the background here. If I go too high, like say, I don't know, up like that, then you start to see some convergence with branches in the background mountains and the background tree. So my primary kind of concern, if you want to call it that, is just to make sure that you can see the whole of this shape of this tree in here and somewhat this one here.
and I'll just recompose that. So we kind of like something like that. And I've also composed this in 16:9 because there isn't an awful lot going on in the sky, and the top of this tree isn't that exciting. It's a little ugly, so I just wanted to include part of it. But I do that with all my forest photography and all my compositions is really try to focus on one aspect that I really like, in this case the tree at the back, the shape of that, but put it into context with the surrounding environment, and look at all of the elements in the frame, the outside of the frame, whether things are coming in that shouldn't be coming in or sticking out, and if they are, then trying to eliminate those or hide them behind some other object, so that it simplifies it but also conveys the story that you're trying to tell. And then of course the biggest thing with this scene is getting the right light. Right now the sky is, or the light is not that great, so it just doesn't look that great. You need some kind of light to bring everything forward and bring it to life. It's a little sketchy standing on this rock here, so I'll do my best. As you can see, this is an absolutely stunning scene with the waterfall kind of tumbling over into this beautiful gorge here. And as the days progressed, the weather is getting better and better, so it's been really great. There's some lovely light on the mountains, and then we've got the waterfall and that silver birch kind of just hanging there on the edge of the waterfall. I've taken a few compositions. I took some square format, which I quite like, and now I'm taking some 4x3 and 4x5, just trying all kinds of different things, or different compositions, or slight compositions anyway. Got the river running over to the right, and then the waterfall more or less in the center. It's just great to have a little bit of light on the mountains in the background as well, just to give it a bit of interest and depth, and I mean, it's just fabulous. Wow, that was absolutely brilliant. I couldn't really do much vlogging because it was a little bit awkward down on that rock there, and a bit slippery. Didn't want to fall off into the canyon. Probably not the best thing to do. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. We got a little bit of nice light at the end there. So yeah, it was a nice finish to the day. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know they're a little bit haphazard. I'm not quite as organized as, say, Tom. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. It's much appreciated. And as always, if you enjoy the content of my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. All right, folks. Till next time, thanks ever so much. Bye-bye.